Once upon a time, two retired teachers decided to convert their garage into a pottery studio. Along with their daughter and son, they built a business around the idea that the world could use a little more art and a lot more artists. We're the Kaya family. Welcome to Wocky Pots. Hi everybody, how you doing? How you been? How are things? Shane and Diana with episode number 26 of our Coffee Time show here at Wocky Pots Studio. Diana, what are we going to talk about in this week's episode?
Oh, so many things.
Lots and lots and lots. Lots and lots.
Yes. Last week, we had so much going on that we, one night, went to bed at 7 o'clock.
It was daylight, literally daylight. I'm like, it's a little early in the afternoon to go to bed.
But anyway, we had a good week though. It was a big glazing week for us. So let's talk about the glazing first. I have a few of the pieces out. We didn't get to do a glaze unload.
Right. We only had about half a kiln load of stuff that we had glazed. So we didn't really do a kiln unload video. For two reasons. One, only part of it was our stuff. The other stuff was from students. And also, it had been a week of disasters anyway, and we didn't want to jinx it too bad by actually filming disasters. So,
I'm sure people would have been okay with that disasters anyway, but we were getting ready for the market and we were kind of hard pressed for time. So
we had no disasters in the kiln, by the way.
We didn't.
Was unfounded
and
fears.
We had some really, really beautiful pieces. This cup has been waiting for a while now to get glazed, and I finally got up the nerve to glaze it. So let me go ahead and talk about this one first. This is a mug I probably shared some weeks ago that I had carved this image on. It's of a chickadee, and I do love my birds. And what I did was I used Amico snow on the inside. And then on the outside of the mug, I used the olive speckle, also Amico. And then I painted the chickadee with underglazes and then used a clear over top. Now, I will say I've really been struggling with clears going on over my underglazes. So I just used the Celadon mixing clear this time, and I seem to have the best result with that.
Well, that might be our thing. If we're going to be doing a clear glaze over top of an underglaze, maybe the Celadon mixing glaze might be the better.
But I'm right.
Fit.
I'm very pleased
it's awesome.
with that.
It's fantastic.
Yes.
Now, you used snow on that. Can you talk about the cup right beside it?
Yes, because this one has snow also, and of course there is a very marked difference in these two pieces. This one is on the speckle 112, which is from Standard Clay Company, which has manganese specks in it, and those manganese specks come through the glazes.
They show through the glaze. They
still show. Whereas this is on Standard 240, which we no longer use, but it is white clay, and therefore when you use snow on the white clay, you just get this pure white, and it is beautiful.
Very different effects on different clay bodies.
Now this is, of course, on the bottom is rainforest, and I put the rainforest about 2/3 of the way up, and I put the snow about 2/3 of the way down. And so this band here is where the two overlap, and we get this sort of oil spot effect.
It almost looks like a fractal almost.
Yes, yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful cup. I like that. Very pretty.
And that's an example of one that we had made quite some time ago. And just recently glazed. So, I want to say that cup is a year old.
It was in our backlog, so yes. And then
fantastic.
These were a couple of the newer pieces that had been made more recently, because this one's on the Sheltoe, so. And this one is on the Standard 112, which I really like the bottom on this one.
Right.
It's unusual.
It's a nice fit. Now, I'll definitely show closer pictures of these so you can see them better.
Now, I have to say, it's hard for people to see, but glazes look different on different clay bodies. And so this bottom glaze on each of these is my favorite, which is textured turquoise. Yes,
we love
my
that.
very favorite from Amico. But you can see that it looks very different on both. It sings on the Sheltoe,
Right.
just like the Albany slip brown at the top does. And of course, this band of like a brown color here is where the two are overlapped. But I love this. This is like one of my favorite combos ever.
I remember
this
that
one is seaweed on the top, and that's very pretty too.
I remember that cup because I was trying to go for more of a classic coffee cup kind of a shape with that.
And that's really nice. My mother would have loved that. She would have.
I'm sure she would have.
Yes. It looks like her for some reason.
Yep.
Yes. And then we have a couple of gnomes sitting out too.
Where'd the other gnome go?
He's gone.
Oh no!
He had the leaf on his hat and he was all in green.
Did he get adopted?
He did.
We got one of our gnomes got adopted.
Yes.
We can't show you a picture.
But this one's right cute with the like orangey beard.
I love that.
Which is very different because most gnomes you see have the white beard. So, but anyway.
Very good.
And then this one's in blues. So.
And this one has bushy eyebrows, and we love that. And I'm not going to tell him that the eyebrows are there to cover up the fact that his hat slipped back and we had this huge gap, because they don't need to know that eyebrow is there just because we made a mistake.
Well, he was too cute not to.
I like the eyebrows.
Yes,
I think it's better.
Well, and I really do like that look. He's so cute.
It's a feature, not a flaw.
Yes.
We love it.
That's
we
right.
engineered that space under his hat.
And that's one of the things sometimes when you work with clay, things happen and it's no need to fight it. Just go with it.
And
it's a good
also,
life lesson.
You can't look back at it either
Yeah.
and regret it. In fact,
Yeah.
I said it repeatedly last week while I was working with things in the Raku kiln. Every single thing you do is either a success or a lesson.
Yes.
And last week was a week of lessons in the Raku kiln. And I guess maybe we'll talk about some of the things that I did last week. And the first things, we have a couple of pieces that I wanted to talk about before we get into the stuff I did. And this is one of the pieces that's getting a lot of attention at the market that we're set up at, the Shinkitik Farmers and Artisans Market. And people love the handle on it. So I think I need to get back into the habit of innovating and making some new kinds of handles. And this is the right shape for what we were thinking about for our camping cups. But it's too short. So I need to make it a little bit taller. But having said that, I also want to say that this is an example of a cup that we've shown before, but I'm showing it to you guys now to appreciate the fact that people like these small cups. We had several people come up to us and say that they're so glad they were able to find smaller cups and not these great big huge mugs.
And in fact, for a market update, I've been keeping the tally thing. It was those types of cups that were our most popular item of the week.
And many of the smaller cups that I had made and that you had glazed in the past of approximately that size sold yesterday. So we sold several of them in yesterday's Shinkitik Island Farmers and Artisans Market. And this just came out of our last load. This is brand new, but again, this is a cup that I made quite some time ago, and we just got to glazing. And Diana did such a fantastic job on that glaze.
This is obsidian, Amico's obsidian. Oh, and then over top of that is the indigo float, and then I have flux on the rim.
Well, it's absolutely stunningly beautiful.
It really
Love
makes that blue stand out.
So in the future, when we're making more cups, we will make larger mug-sized things. But we have to remember that there are people who want the smaller, funky cups. And I'm going to call them the funky cups.
Oh, the one lady came over and she said, "Oh, they're just what I need." She said, "I'm always looking for small cups." And I think she took 4.
Yeah, and one of them was that Mondrian cup that started out as a vase. If I can find a picture of it, I will. I'm sure I've taken pictures of it in the past, but we've had it for quite some time. It started out life as a vase that collapsed at the top, and rather than completely discard it, I just cut it off and turned it into a little funky little cup that she just absolutely loved. And speaking of things that people really loved at the market yesterday, they really did seem to enjoy the huge variety of things that we had. we have had several people, every time we set up, people comment on how great it is to see the variety of things that we have. Rather than have 50 of the same thing, we have many, many different kinds of things.
I think that's, it goes with my motto, something for everyone. And it's, so whether it's a wide variety of colors or a wide variety of things, we're very eclectic people. So therefore, I think our pottery shows that we have lots of diverse interest in what we think is cool and interesting. And
the enthusiasm on our part comes from doing the new stuff and the new things. And I kind of dread the day when we sit down and we have to make, 100 of this thing or that. That's going to be tough.
I don't know if we ever will do that.
We might not.
We love our little small batch type things, and no two things are usually identical. Sometimes plates are, or something, maybe a few cups or something.
If we want to make a set, a cup and a bowl or whatever.
I enjoy everything being different.
It's fantastic to do things that are original. Now, sometimes though, that's at the cost. We have some fatalities every once in a while.
Yes, and
when we experiment
to talk.
So before I talk about the first, well, you know what? I'm going to talk about the bowl first, because this is a mistake, you guys, and I'm going to tell you about it because I love it. It's a mistake, but I love it.
That's what it wants to be.
So I was trimming this bowl, and as I sometimes do, I was putting a very heavy texture on it because I love heavy textures, and one of my scoops into the side got too close and actually perforated the inside. And
that wasn't going to be a yarn bowl. I thought that was going to be a yarn bowl.
No, this is not the one that was going to be a yarn bowl. This was starting like as an actual bowl, like a cereal bowl or something.
And you were just carving on it.
Yep, and I was just carving, giving it a nice texture. And I invented a couple new swear words, and I was getting ready to chuck it into the bucket.
Because I was working over here at the table.
Right. I was unsupervised in the corner, right? But I pushed through too far, and then I thought, hey, wait a minute. What if I did that on purpose? And now I have Satan's soup bowl. That's what I'm going to call this. It's just a bowl, but it has a bunch of holes in it. And I was tempted to put holes in the bottom and actually turn it into a usable colander. I don't really want it to be that, so I'm probably going to leave the outside bare clay and put a nice, really pretty glaze on the inside. That's probably what I'm thinking. But this started life as a mistake, and I love it. Now, I'm mentioning it to you because one of the yarn bowls that I made yesterday did not turn out the way it was supposed to. In fact, I broke off the little swirl inside because it's because I let it dry out a little too much and I had to apply too much pressure to do the cut. And I just completely chucked that one. That one was a complete disaster. I say complete disaster. It is in my reclaim bag getting rehydrated now, and it will live again on my potter's wheel sometime in the future.
And get trimmed sooner this time.
Right, that's right. Yep, get trimmed sooner. This one, however, I think I love it the way it is, and I'm going to put a glaze on the inside and leave the outside raw.
That'll be pretty.
It'll be pretty.
Yeah.
Now, we had a couple of other disasters that we need to talk about. We did our Raku firing last week, and we ran the kiln 3 times, twice with normal Raku loads, and we included in one of those normal loads this beautiful tall vase that Diana had hand-built. But the thermal expansion was a problem when it was in the kiln. The issue, and I'm 98% sure this is the issue. The issue is there's too much of difference in height between the bottom and the top, and that led to too much of a difference in temperature. I really feel like the temperature wasn't close enough while we were firing this. I feel like if we had fired this much slower, we might have had some success.
I noticed that the cracking is mainly up in the upper portions, that the bottom itself is still intact. So maybe that is true. I also wondered if it could have been something in the, I don't know what you call that.
In the curve?
Thank you. That's it? That's the word?
We don't know, but the only way to really get past it and to not have this happen again is to try it again and change something. And what I would change, if we had to fire this exact piece again, the difference that I would say is much slower time in the kiln. Like if we put it in the exact same place in the kiln, I feel like we would have success if we raise the temperatures much more slowly.
Okay, yeah, and I have put hand-built pieces before because we've done the cats.
Right, it's not a matter of it being hand-built.
Yeah, so...
I think it's a matter of altitude.
Okay.
And we'll try it and see. Now, granted, the cracks did happen where the joints were.
Yes.
That could be attributed to the fact that there's more clay in the joints. The joints are thicker. So that might be part of it also. Because I have some taller Raku pieces that are going to be going in. And I bet $50 that this is not going to happen with those pieces. Okay. The pieces that I'm going to put in are round, and they maintain constant thickness all the way around. So we're going to look at it and we're going to see. But you can see as you're looking at it right now, there's a big chunk missing from that. Now. Yeah. This was in one of our normal firings that we kind of weren't too worried about. Like we knew our procedure and stuff. So although this was a bit of a surprise, we knew that the taller hand-built stuff was kind of an experiment. But we very much on purpose for our last firing did an experiment on purpose. And the question was this: could we take a piece of dry greenware and essentially biscuit, do a bisque fire, and get it hot enough to apply Horsehair Raku in one firing? And the answer is a resounding no. No, we cannot. No. Using the same method that we use for everything else, we can't do that. All right, so what you're looking at here are shards of the vase that I put in the kiln as greenware. Now, we kind of knew this was going to happen. This was not a big surprise. Expected. We did expect it. However,
we had to try it.
If we ever felt like we really wanted that to work, like we needed to, if we needed it to do that, then we probably could fire it in the Raku kiln. But again, being very careful about our temperature rate, the speed at which it raises temperature.
To go much
slower. And at that point, if you're firing in a Raku kiln and it has to go that much slower, we're just going to use the electric kiln. It'll do the same thing, and we won't have to babysit it the whole time.
Right.
And that's the big thing with the Raku. You got to be right there for it. So these were a couple of this was kind of a surprise disaster, and this was a now we know kind of a disaster. But all of this was offset by a lot of successes last week too. We got a lot of things right here at Wocky Pots last week. And since we're, yesterday and the day before, we're last week, we'll talk about it just for a second. Yeah. The Osprey Nest in Chincoteague Island bought from us a load of Horsehair Raku pieces that were made with the descendants of Misty of Chincoteague. And that was a phenomenal success. The pottery turned out really great. If you want to purchase those vases, and they're extremely limited edition, you guys, if you're interested in purchasing those vases, they are available at the Osprey Nest on Chincoteague. Now, some of our normal pottery is also on display there. But the Osprey Nest is the only place where you're going to be able to purchase the Misty Line Heritage pottery. Right. You're not going to be able to find it anywhere else. We will have horsehair pottery set up again on our tables. We sold our last normal piece yesterday. I think we did sell that, right?
We did,
yep.
Yes.
But we will have normal horsehair pottery set up at our booth, and we will be selling normal horsehair pottery wherever we set up. But we will not be selling the Misty Heritage pottery. The only place you'll be able to get that is the Osprey Nest on Chincoteague.
Right, and they provide us with the horsehair for that.
Yep.
So, and that actually, let's go ahead and answer a question because it's still about Horsehair Raku. Yep. Because Sandy asked, can you use hair from multiple horses on the same piece of Raku? So, and the answer to that is yes, we certainly can. And so Sandy wants to provide us with the hair from 3 different horses that are rescues.
Her daughter's horses?
Yes. And she wants them used on the same piece, but kept separate on the piece. So the thing is, where it's such a short time window, I'm going to need to make sure I have the hairs laid out so that I pick this particular horse's first, get on one section, then go to the next horse, and then to the next horse's hair. And I'll have them labeled, and I need to come up with some way that I would be able to differentiate and put like some kind of a mark or something to indicate on the piece.
I know how we can do that.
Oh, okay.
So we'll apply the hair from one horse near the bottom, from another horse near the top, and then for the last horse vertically. So
it would like overlap.
Yeah, so all of the horsehair from the first one would be like horizontal with the bottom. All the horsehair from the second one would be like horizontal to the top, and then any hairs that were at an angle would be from the third horse. And I think that would be a great way to, because you could actually look at it and say, that line, that's definitely from this horse, and that line is definitely from that.
Well, that's great, Sandy. If you're watching,
we got a plan.
We've got a plan now.
Yep.
Good. So yeah, that's thank you.
Yep. What can I say? I'm a pretty fart smeller. Smart feller. Pretty smart.
Yes, but sometimes it takes your brain. Sometimes it takes my brain. Sometimes it takes both brains.
Right.
So,
Yep.
but yes, that was our question. And then the other thing I wanted to share about Raku pottery was the fact that there's some folklore that goes along with Raku.
Right. Where is it from?
From the horsehair. Yes. And it was told generation through generation and passed down through the Puebloan American Indians that there was a potter woman who had removed hot pottery and her hair was blown onto it by the wind.
It is definitely Native American.
Yes. And it left this mark on the pottery. And so then she started to experiment, kind of like we do. And she tried all sorts of things, feathers, reeds, horsehair. And what she discovered was that the horsehair left the nicest, darkest marks on the pottery. And then she purposely continued that, and they passed that on down through the generations. Well, now, it's not totally confirmed, folks, but I like that story.
I will say that probably historical record is going to back that story up. It sounds right. Well, good.
I think it's a good story.
Look forward to more Raku pottery coming from Wocky pots in the future, and also in a range of sizes. The bigger pots like this size will maybe be a little rarer because of the higher likelihood of breakage. But we're gonna keep doing them. I think our Raku kiln is set up the way we want it to.
Yes.
And aside from small little tweaks, I think we have our process down for horsehair Raku. We will be moving on to other Raku pottery in our Raku kiln.
And then that's still a learning curve. So. But we'll get there.
Yep.
And I know we had so many stories that were being shared with us yesterday at the market.
Guys, we sold a lot at the market. We did.
But I have to say, honestly, it's wonderful to sell pieces. But I think what really invigorates me and just gets me going, because I woke up this morning ready to start making pottery hard as I can, was all of the people that were there. And just... we met a lady yesterday who was French, and it was so funny because she says, I asked her, I said, "Are you from?" And I never even finished getting it out. She says, "No, I'm French." From
actual France.
And she said, "I always get asked that," but she had married a gentleman who was from the United States, and they live in New York, I believe, is what she told me.
New York.
And But the story that she told was so cool because his family had been coming to Chincoteague for vacation for, was it 32 years?
32 years.
32 years. And she said at one point in time, there would be about 100 members that would descend on the island and spend time together. And she said this year it was 85 of them in attendance. And she always bought something to take back as a memento of her time coming to the island. And so we were so fortunate to hear that wonderful story. Met a couple of other family members that were with her, and then she bought one of our like semicircle vases, and she was going to put it on her desk with pencils and pens.
And so many people shared stories with us from their time doing pottery themselves, either in high school or in college. We actually met an actual potter from Philadelphia.
Yes, and I just loved talking with her because she was going on about this color combination, and I was telling her what it was, and then she said, well, have you used honey flux with iron luster over it? So then she's going through her phone and pulling up the picture. She said, you've got to try this.
So we're gonna.
It was great. It was great. And then that sweet older gentleman with the cane.
Right. So just as we were packing up, and I stopped packing up to talk with this because that's what you do. You stop doing what you're doing and you talk to people when they want to talk. But he had this really pretty cane that he had wood burned on. And he was telling me about his time making pottery in college. And he was talking about how he made moss for a sculpture by pushing clay through a window screen and then taking those little bits and applying them to the clay sculpture to make it look like moss. And we had this great conversation, but that's if you sell anything, if you're a vendor and somebody comes up to you and they want to talk, you stop vending and you listen to them, because we only have a certain number of days, a certain number of heartbeats on this planet, and you have to appreciate the travels and the experience that everybody has, and that's just the way you do it. It's sort of like if a 2-year-old starts telling you a story and you can't even understand what they're saying, you stop and you listen.
That's it.
Because it matters.
And when he left, he was standing just a little taller, and he had a smile on his face.
And what he probably didn't even realize is he made me smarter. That's a thing that I now think about and that I might try in the future. And those interactions are solid gold, worth way more than the money that you make from selling the stuff. Having said that, in 2 days of selling, Friday and then Saturday, we did very well. We made as much money selling pottery in those 2 days as we made in 2 weeks as teachers when we were teaching. And we're very fortunate to be able to say that. It was a fantastic weekend. Memorial Day weekend, of course, is a big holiday. And we felt justified. And I guess it's that sense of this is a good thing for us to do. It was a very good, fulfilling feeling.
Yeah. So I was very pleased and just.
And so many dogs, you guys. We didn't take pictures of them, though. We were so busy. I know it sounds silly to be so. We're so busy. We didn't have time to take a picture. It was literally that way.
It was. It was massive amounts of people yesterday. So. Yep. But now it gives us that.
We're reinvigorated.
Yes. Ready to go take on this week. So.
And the big lesson is some of the stuff that we made in the past that we thought was pretty cringy and pretty bad. People like it, and somebody will buy it. And if you're a maker, if you make anything, put it out there because somebody might love it.
Everybody's taste is different.
I referred to this several times yesterday when somebody purchased an item that I'm so glad that it went to a good home. And it always feels like we're giving up a kitten for adoption when somebody takes a piece of our pottery home, because there's a little bit of a story and a little bit of our life history in everything we do. And if people will talk about it, if they want the story, we can give them minute details about the creation of any of the items that we have.
You never have a problem talking, hun.
Ain't that the truth, though? Ain't it, though? Yep. So anyway, we have a good time.
We do.
And we come home and our faces sore from smiling so much. And our voices are a little bit hoarse from talking so much. But it's so much fun. We really do enjoy it.
Is. So.
Well, I guess we need to think about next week now.
We do. We wanted to get a bisque load in last week, but it didn't happen. The pottery was still not dry enough.
Right.
So we're pretty good now. So I'm thinking after we're done, we're gonna get a bisque load in.
Right.
If the words will come out. And then, of course, we do need to get some more glazing done this week. I had hoped that this was going to be a making week, but we really do need to get another glaze load in also. So it's going to be a bit of both going on this week.
Just yesterday, we sold 40 pieces of pottery, and that's a kiln load for us. We got to get stuff made and out there.
And then we also are going to need to fit in a trip to Norristown, PA, because it's that time again, guys. We need supplies.
We're going to need more stuff.
More stuff. Running out of glazes, running out of clay. We do have new clay to try that we had not yet tried, and we are going to be using that this week. So I'm going to be using the Iceman from Kentucky Medworks.
And I'll be digging into that 25-pound bag of porcelain that's over there.
Yeah.
I'm very anxious to do that.
Yeah, and then hopefully, this week we're going to be making garden bells.
Right.
And using what we kind of learned from the yarn bowls with that beautiful ringing sound that the yarn bowl makes. That if we put a little
spiral or
curve in, that it will really help the sound to resonate in the bell. So I'm looking forward to doing those, and really anything else that I can make. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to say I'd make 10 garden bells and 10 of this and 10 of that and 10 of the other, but that never happens.
It's going to be a pretty busy week. We're not sure exactly what we're going to be doing.
I guess next week maybe the table will be filled with new things.
Maybe we'll actually get out and mow the lawn. That would be a thing.
Oh yeah, we have wheat growing in the yard.
Carolyn wants to make yard bread out of the wheat that we inherited from the farmer's field next door. She seems to think we could do it. Oh, and I guess I need to give you an update on Carolyn's cowboy hat. Last week I shared with you a picture of her finished cowboy hat. Well, she now has a cowboy hat for James, her boyfriend, and she's also making a straw hat as well. So she's turning into quite a haberdasher.
And the straw is paper straw?
Yeah, I don't know the deal with it.
It's something about gluten.
Yeah, people who have gluten sensitivity can't wear all straw hats.
I didn't know that.
I don't know.
But it was something that she found out. So
she's way smarter than me, let me tell you. So I trust her.
Yes.
All right, so what else about next week?
Well, I think that's it for next week, because there's just a lot going to be happening, and we're going to go with whatever happens. I wanted to say we would take off Wednesday, but it might end up being that our day off is going to be the day that we go to Norristown. That might be our day off.
We do have a couple of weeks before we're starting before we start making market appearances on Wednesdays also.
Yes.
So then we're going to be showing up at the Chincoteague Island Farmers and Artisans Market on Wednesdays and on Saturdays. Why? Because you're insane. That's why.
I know, but I really love it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We would probably go there and set up just to sit and talk to people, wave and smile.
That's it. If I have to sit at an empty table and just talk about pottery. Oh, which reminds me, I made up a science board, guys. You know, it was that teacher in me.
Oh, yeah, a science board. So we've got a science board because we didn't have enough things to do with our time. Diana wanted to give kind of a background, the science and the process, of making our pottery. So I'll show you pictures of the science board. I didn't get a picture of it set up at the market, but I'll throw in a picture.
It was kind of funny because a couple of people said, We can tell you're a teacher.
I told Diana that she definitely would have gotten first place with that. If it was a science fair board contest, she definitely had
Yes,
the best
it
looking
looked
science
nice.
fair
It
board
looked
at
nice.
the whole market.
So, and this brings me to one of my favorite things we get to do now in coffee time. I love how this evolves too, and that's our map update.
Right, so some new folks.
Yes.
So let's switch into geography mode for a minute.
Yes, and most of our people all of our people this week that told us where they were from are from North America. Woohoo!
Yep. One of my favorite continents.
We're on North America.
Okay, so let's...
Okay, so Sandy from Maytown, Pennsylvania. Jean from Rhode Island. Rhonda from Goche, Mississippi. And it is pronounced Goche. I had to look it up because it looked like Gautier to me. But it is of French origin.
Okay.
Janine from Rochester, Minnesota. A.S. from Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Oh, Wyoming. I love Wyoming.
And then Connie from Saskatchewan.
Nice.
Up in Canada.
Very good.
So exciting, guys.
Do that, guys. Make sure if you leave a comment that you tell us where you're commenting from, and we'll stick a pin in the map for you. I'll have a photo update every once in a while. I don't think I'm going to do another video of the pins, but I'll definitely show photo updates of our map as it gets filled up. Now, do we have anything else we need to talk about?
No, that is going to be it. And I cannot wait to get started because I'm going to do some glazing, and then I'm going to start those garden bells today.
I'm going to sit down at the wheel and play with that new porcelain clay. Yeah. I've been really looking forward to it. And today I'm going to sit down, and there's 25 pounds there. I bet I can go through 10 pounds today. Easy. I bet I can. Yeah. Yep. Are we all finished?
We are all finished.
Let's sign it out. Okay, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and the bell icon if you want to be notified of new content and all that stuff. And for now, toodaloo, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Take care, see you later, have a fantastic day, no matter where you're at. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.